Islam. Except it's an acronym now. I, self, law, and master. Now you're dealing with the science. So Raleigh established the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. What, they ain't get it yet? No, he didn't. He established the Moorish Science Temple of Religion.
They ain't get no science.
I mean, these people have been gamed over and over again. But we ain't worried about that. We're making sure the youth get it, because they're going to clean this mess up. And they're going to move the traitors out. But the point is that these people are going to need this real quick. Now, they're going to have a clear understanding, because what they're going to do is they're going to start killing the people off in order not for them to get to the estate. That's what King Alfred is for.
But you want to make a point real quick? On that dollar bill that we said our great...
And remember, it's not a dollar bill.
Or the note...
No, a bill can never be a dollar.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
If you understand, because if it was a dollar, it must be silver or gold coin. That's why when the bankers foreclose on people, they will put in parentheses specie, which means the gold and the silver.
Yeah.
But then they come here to steal our gold and silver?
Yep.
Come on up, bro.
Yeah.
But
Just want to point out,
U.S. currency.
this Federal Reserve note that you see right here, it's a live stamp.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? This is a dead stamp. So you turn it around, you see our seal with the live stamp.
Yes.
And this seal with the dead stamp.
And you'll see, and you'll see a key and a square upside down on that seal. And it's green, because it's the color of Venus. What is it? Ana-Il. Friday. Holy name for the planet Venus. 5-pointed green star. Right there in your face, but if people can't read symbolism, they don't know what they're looking at. You understand? Thank you, brother. Islam, trust you learn anything? Questions real quick? Islam, brother. Islam, got something for you.
No, just hand this out to everybody. No water there. I'm going to take 5 minutes.
All right.
You can just hand that out.
Yes. Help me out with this. Make sure everybody has a copy.
No, no. This is Tom, please turn off.
Make sure everybody has a copy. Can you hand them out on this side? Just make sure everybody
Can I
has a
just
copy.
mention this?
Yes.
That way I'm not.
Islam.
All right.
Good.
You get the gist of it. I just wanted to say, I know a lot of you go on the site and get rates off, right?
Yes.
All right. And, and you know, we got word that the immunization matters with the schools particularly. They had told some people that they weren't, the schools told some parents that they weren't going to be accepting the writs because they come from a website guide and they're all the same, right? Now, granted, we need to know what it is that we've written and submitted in, but the fact that they're all the same means that the people's consciousness is raising and they have the same state of mind and the same position. So it's good that they're all the same. They're like, oh, it's a uniform letter. That's what they're saying. But everything they give you is uniform, right? So I wanted to write this real quick, take me 3 minutes to read this, to encourage us not to allow that, because the brother had come to New York and said, oh yeah, but you can't, they won't accept it if it comes off of one of the sites, whether it be ours or someone else's. And it actually defeats the whole purpose of the raising of consciousness and the nation and one, unite one way. So that's right. As a result of the electrifying age of information and in concert with the people exercising their rights, many have utilized writs that contain exact information and are submitting them to agencies, associations, courts, schools, and other entities as an expression of their position in any manner. In the case of the immunization letter that we have on our site, and any that others have as well, it has been reported that some schools are not accepting them because they are a form or uniform letter. The fact that the people are utilizing the same information is one of the goals of the people collectively. The subject of immunization is a collective concern for many parents. The immunization letter represents the same state of mind and position held by the people. The irony of the school systems not wanting to accept the letters if they are a form or uniform letter is absolutely clear School systems use form letters all the time. Do not allow them to stop you from using any letter that you may have received from a website association or that you have written on your own. Take your position and stand on it. If they insist, ask them to submit to you the law, not the statute, that states you cannot submit a letter. They do not have the authority to do so, and there is no lawful validity to them making such a demand on you. Obviously, the consciousness of the people is raising, and honorably, many are concerned about what happens to their children in regard to the forced immunization. It is important that you know what you are stating, and the immunization letter is clear and concise. Whether you come from the angle of religious freedoms or from the angle of your personal choice to determine what is best for your child. It is also very clear that they absolutely, again, have not the authority to tell you that you cannot submit a writing because it is a letter because it is widely availed to the public for the public's use. The fact that many are taking this position is again the point and victory for the people. Besides, it is your constitutionally secured right not to be infected with poison. Many mothers are aware that the absolute best immunization for their child is to breastfeed them. It is a fact that breastfed babies are much healthier and do not contract sicknesses as much, if hardly at all, as they are immune naturally. They take the immunities of the mother at first feeding. This is the natural way of administering protection to your child. This is also a clear reasoning for the position that one takes as their choice of natural immunization for their child. Uneducated mothers may think that they are a failure in breastfeeding because they are not aware that colostrum, a clear liquid, comes out first. This indicates the need to educate the people regarding nature's way, as it is difficult to take a natural position if you are unaware of the natural processes. They, the states and agents for the state, are expecting that you are a product of the dumbed-down education system and that your child is a ward of the state. Therefore, the state determines what is best for your child. The fact that they are challenging your choice is proof that they are in conspiracy and acting as wardens. I find that to be very scary, don't you? Many associations, schools, churches, and other public institutions are having a very difficult time right now. This is the time for London Bridge to fall down. The states have presented a dumbed-down education system as is proven in the 1895 8th grade school, public school test, of which we are the original teachers of them. We taught, there are 7 liberal arts which contain basic, universal, and fundamental teachings, and no society or civilization ought ever lack in those basic teachings. And that's been our problem.
Yes.
Only those who remain in a mindset that someone else is the authority over them and their children would actually accept them telling you what you can and cannot sign your name to and submit. When we hear things like this, we like to encourage you to continue on the path. When the people are of the same mindset regarding fundamental principles, it is a clear sign that humanity is being uplifted, that the U-not verse is one, verse being stated as in conversing, being written as in the spelling, and the U-not form letter represents that oneness. And I leave you with this. Under the United States, republics, now we were told to enforce the Constitution by Prophet Noah for all the reasons. We understand why, but this one applies. Under the United States Republic's constitutional system of government and upon the individuality and intelligence of the citizen, the state does not claim to control one's conduct to others, leaving one the sole judge as to all that affects oneself. That's Mugler versus Kansas. 2 things. You recognize when you read this that we need to institute schools or institutions of thought to teach each other. And the other thing you realize more than ever is why Prophet Noah said that every temple must have a school. Thank you.
Thank you, sis. That's proof of the wardship tenures. Now, this is the other issue. Keep in mind that Barack Obama signed the rights of indigenous people that reinforces what Drew Ali set up. That's why they made them study the rights of indigenous people. That backs us up. because they're trying to say that you don't have a right to activate your national status and determine your political status of the state, and they're going to determine your political status of the state, which is a violation of law. It is what? Connotative slavery is peonage.
He also signed another bill recently that they're doing the background search on the quote-unquote Negroes and African Americans and see what is their relation to the original people of this land. Basically, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, and that's why decolonization goes on at the same time. The Special Committee of 24 and all non-governmental institutions, civic organizations, churches, and organizations in the community were given instructions from said governments, etc., and the government and the United Nations for this information to be dispensed. And it appears that we are the only ones that are telling people about nationality. So unless you already know the sellout, the world has stood for it, and here we are still arguing something that should have been done decades ago. So Obama signed it.
And England is saying it too. England is saying we the original people of this land.
Of course they are. I mean, everybody's saying it. Who's not saying it? Your black leader guys who keep on doing this civil rights crap, who keep working for the European, who working on that disconnecting us from the land, and then they getting paid, how do you say, funds from the Jesuits through their 501c3s and from the corporate states that have their little organizations keep on rolling. Run around wearing $3,000 suits and then usually give them a church to keep them busy. You know, I mean, hey, it's got to come out.
Judges, lawyers,
and then the judges, what? They got stock in the penal system, and they deliberately rotating our children in there, and they'll take something petty, send the children to jail because they're getting paid. You know, I mean, the whole thing. But until the people starts being operative in nationality, you know what I mean? You can leave them water, but you can't make them drink. There's not any more questions before I go, because Brother Abdullah is getting ready to come back and give us tail end of the powerful lesson. Any more questions? Is it understood? Reconveyance?
Taj, when you speak about
Say it real loud so I can understand.
when you speak about deed of trust,
Deed of trust, that's what they're selling.
or the Sister Q, right? But what are they trusted? They're getting paid to do what?
They created a deed of trust when you signed the mortgage and didn't tell you. That's what they're selling. The house drags with it. They're not dealing with the house, they're dealing with the deed of trust the whole time. And that's never discussed with you. That's what I'm making you aware of.
All right.
And so that reconveyance is you're now making the argument to conduct the trust as what? Beneficiary to the trust. You see the whole point? You can do it whether you're in trouble with the mortgage or not. You can do it right now. You've got some kind of contract with them. You don't need to be in foreclosure. Deal with it from the perspective that you're a trust, that they got your name on a trust. Start conducting that thing. You know what I mean?
Islam. I'm back. All right, so what I want to do, Islam. Can you keep it down, please? Appreciate it. My brother Abdullah, for those who do not know me, all right, you got some new people here, all right. I talked to a month ago one of my teachers at PASA. In fact, I was out there and I talked to him. I had spoken to him in over a year. He said to me that the only way people can know the power of etymology is that they have to use it. You know, it's one thing to take the class, but it's another thing to use it. And once you begin to use it, to apply it, you begin to see the impact and effect that you can have in every arena. In studying the Black's Law Dictionary, all right, and studying case law. You can apply the skills. If you don't use it, of course, you'll say, it's a waste of time. Of course, you'll say that, that you can't use it in studying the law, all right? So what I do is try to make it as clear as possible, showing examples of how you can use etymology. Etymology is the history and origin of words. I'll give you, I teach in a public school, public high school. And I often talk, I teach classes, deal with different students, and I teach them etymology, history, I deal with teachers. I also presented an etymological lesson in front of the entire administration. And they were highly impressed. So much so that my lesson was used and was posted in the hallway. What I did was I did a display board on prefixes, root words, and suffixes, and how students can develop their vocabulary by tens of thousands of words. Very simple. Very simple methods. Not complicated at all. All right? In fact, that lesson will be on YouTube. Mathane's going to put that lesson on YouTube. Very simple lessons. Also, lessons on how to study many multiple languages. How you can teach your children multiple languages. And that will help in reading history, reading law, medicine, botany, zoology, studying the Black's Law Dictionary, studying the etymological dictionary. Etymology can be used in every facet of study. But someone has to be able to break it down to you simplistically. One of the brothers called me from that he attended our first class at Black and Noble last year. He's from Poconos. And he said to me that he's seen my lesson on class on YouTube, and said to me that he loved the way I explain things very simply. You know, I break it down to the point that people can understand. All right? So I take great pride in that. I talked to another brother a couple years ago in Elton, in Detroit, Brother George. And he said that he's been reading Churchill, Churchwood's books, and other books of that nature. He has had the books for over 30 years. And what he did was he went back into the books with a etymological mind and got more out of it. And this is from as a result of a few lessons. And this is a brother who's been, he has a library that has over 500 books. There's a library in his bedroom. So I'm just giving you some examples of how people are developing and using the lessons. Another, this is back at Woodrow Wilson. I was teaching a class. In fact, it was a music class, and I gave them an etymological lesson. And what I did was I wrote down the 7 days of the week and gave the Latin names of the 7 days of the week. And one of the students asked me, all right, she saw that the names of the 7 days of the week are planets, the sun and the moon, the 5 inner planets. And she asked the question, well, why are the 7 days of the week named after planets? Very insightful question. I said to her, that's a very, very insightful question. And I said to her that the reason why the 7 days of the week are planets is because that's the culture. The culture is astronomy, cosmology, and astrology. All right, so we can actually invoke intelligent questions. You can invoke intelligent intercourse with the students. And believe me, from my experience, all right, I dealt with thousands of students. I've taught over 500 adults at PASA. I've lectured. I deal with people all the time. And one of my coworkers said that, Mr. Bey, you're unique because you deal with both children and adults. He said some people only deal with children, some people only deal with adults. He said your experience is unique because you deal with both. And I can talk to both children, teenagers, and adults. And teach them etymology. And I've done that. Most of my contacts, most of the people I deal with are unconscious Moors. Because I talk to people about my work. In fact, one of the teachers is using the lessons. In fact, I teach one of his classes, I've taught in one of his classes a few times on 6th period. He used Taj's book, lesson 14, in the classroom. High school, public high school, he used Taj's book, number lesson 14. All right, this book. All right. Told him to read to the children George Watson's lesson, because what he was doing, he had written a lesson on the board about the history of the Moorish Science Temple. And I gave him the various names: the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, the Moorish Science Temple of America, the Moorish Divine National Movement of the world, established in 1916. So he gave him the whole history of that, and he wanted to me to give him some documents. And so I gave him this book, and he read one of the lessons, Sunday Free Moors, 1789 and 1790. He read that to the students. And what I did was, I went into the classroom, because he wanted me to clear up to the students what African American is. All right? And so I said to them that African American, when you say African American, you're actually saying over 100 nation states. So I broke that down, asked them to recite the 7 continents, and they did that. So it was a very successful lesson. So those are the types of things that I'm doing. This is right in the schools. All right, so I'm sharing my experience of how I use etymology on a daily basis. Am I reading newspapers and reading and listening to news reports, and reading the Black's Law Dictionary, and reading case laws? I apply etymology in every facet. So I need to share with you how I use it so that I can inspire you, so that you can in turn learn the impact of etymology. If one doesn't know it, they're going to dismiss it. Well, logically, that's logic. All right? They're going to dismiss that it's not as important, because they have a limited understanding of that. It's just going to a dictionary, but most people don't know how to use a dictionary, how to effectively use a dictionary. Now, this book here, I've had this for a while. This is English in the law courts. The parts that articles, prepositions, and conjunctions play in legal decisions. And I want to lead into I'm leading up to the astrology lesson. All right, but I'm going to give you a background of study, of how to study, how etymology is used in the courts. A lot of things we're not aware of. You know, things go right past us. Have you heard of a field called symboliography? Symboliography. It's in the Black's Law Dictionary. All right? Symboliography. Symboliography. The art and cunning rightly. The art and cunning rightly of legal instruments and documents. The art and cunning rightly of legal instruments and documents. That's in the Black's Law Dictionary. This is a field, symboliography. But what knowledge base does the symboliographer have? What knowledge base does it have? Now, while we're thinking about, where's that sheet of paper? I need that. All right, I typed this is from the book. All right, English in the law courts, the parts that articles, prepositions, conjunctions play in legal decisions. Margaret M. Bryant. Briefly, form words are not definite content words which present a specific idea to the mind, but are words which show relationship. The person who uses the word does not realize that he must not only select the correct word of relationship, but must also use it in the right place. If whether necessary is violated, the whole meaning is changed. It is then that sinosology, all right, the science which traces the development of the meaning of a word, all right? Etymology, the dictionary, the history of language, all right, must be called into play. All right, so this is what's called into play. All right? So I'm showing you that this language is used. Language is vital. Language is used in rendering decisions. 13 classifications used in the law courts to arrive at decisions concerning the meaning of foreign words upon which the case is turned. 1. Literal interpretation. 2. Interpretation based on intent. 3. Interpretation based on punitive intent. 4. Interpretation suggested by fact. 5. Common meaning. 6. Specified meaning. 7. Technical meaning. 8. Interpretation suggested by technical terms. 9. Dictionary meaning. 10. Etymology. 11. Historical development. All right, sociology. 12. Context. 13. Circumstances. All right, and I'm doing this so I can expand your mind. Expand your mind. Expand your reference points. All right? Our problem is that our reference points are narrow. So I can expand your reference points of study. Very key to analysis. And I said earlier that one of the teacher at the school where I work presented a video on Kanye West wears the Tahuti symbol. And the video was about masonry. And the discussion was whether that symbol, that Kanye West, the Tahuti symbol, is evil. He showed that to the students. So he said to me, Mr. Bey, I showed the video, I want you to, come in and talk about that. I said to him, well, I'd rather not talk about that. I'd rather give them a system of analysis. Because if I say to them that, oh, masonry is not evil, that doesn't mean anything. They would look at that as my mere opinion. If I can first establish with them a system of analysis so they know how to analyze words when they hear it. Just by saying, oh, masonry is not evil, masonry is this. Unless they can have a system of analysis of grammar, logic, rhetoric, etymology, semantics, vocabulary, dictionary study skills. They don't have that. So all they're looking at you is just competing opinions. So I told him that I wouldn't even deal with the video. This is what I would deal with.
All right.
Denotation, you gotta build them up. This is a system of analysis. Analyze, loosen. Ana means up, lies means loosen. So you're gonna loosen it up, break it apart, look at its component parts, and then you're gonna synthesize, put it back together. All right? The students don't have that skill. And connotation. So I will build them up to this point. Because my commenting on the video without their having a system of analysis will be a waste of time. I'm talking about being effective. If you want to be effective, give them this. Give them this. Teach them how to properly use, expand their knowledge base of how to use a dictionary. Teach them this. All right? Teach them the etymology. Teach them the entry-level meanings in the dictionary. So I'm going to erase this. All right? So this is how I would approach that Kanye West video. All right, let me just do this justice. Etymological brackets. How do you study a case? Entry level meanings. All right? So, understanding denotation and connotation. What is the difference? All right? Note means mark, signify. All right? So the denotation is the marker, the pointer, the reference point, the signifier, the designator. So what does the word chair mark, signify, denote, reference, indicate? Say chair.
Church.
Here's the marker. Say it in 100 different languages. The marker doesn't change. If I say chair in 100 different languages, the marker doesn't change. What the Greeks did was remove the marker, buried the marker, and applied a connotative meaning. When the Greeks translated from the Hebrew, they took that which had concrete reference points, all right, to abstract. So now the marker for chair is lost. And that's what the Greeks did. From Hebrew to Greek. The Greeks used this system of interpretation. They applied abstract meanings to that which had concrete or reference points.
Basically, you turn it from definitive to descriptive.
Exactly. That's another linguistic, two linguistic terms to use. Definitive and descriptive. You have what's called descriptive linguistics. All right?
And that's how we get into all these.
So he's been studying. All right, good. Exactly. So this is what I would teach the children, a system of analysis, where you can transfer this lesson into your lesson of studying cases. Blackstone Dictionary. Doesn't matter what it is. Transfer. This is transferable. It's not just, once you have expanded your knowledge base on how to use a dictionary. When I taught it, there was 6 or 7 brothers in the classroom with me. And we talk about this experience first. One brother who calls himself a Muslim, though he's a Muslim because of his name. All right? He thinks a Muslim is one who doesn't eat pork, one who prays 5 times a day, one who makes salat. That's the modern, distorted, connotative meaning for Muslim. That's what he is. All right? I'm where the ancient is, in that. All right? So, and like I said, I explained that to him. All right? He was saying to me, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. So he left the classroom. He came back in later as I was giving the students the lesson on the 7 days of the week. He came back in. This is the same brother that said I didn't know what I was talking about. Same brother was cutting me off and everything. You don't want to talk about, you're a fake Muslim, you ain't no Muslim, all that. Same brother. He came back and started listening. Because I was breaking down a system of analysis. And it resonated with him. That I do know what I'm talking about. All right, so my explaining how I use that etymology, how I'm effective, all right, can inspire you. All right, this is what I use every day. And as I said before, most of my time is spent with unconscious Moors. Because I'm at work. So most unconscious Moors, I'll make them conscious. And that's been from day one, since I met Taj. Most of my time, from day one, since I met Taj, has been with unconscious Moors. Because I'm at work. I remember back when I worked in Trenton, and during my lunch break, and I would be at the train station, bus station, during my lunch break, and I had 20 people around me. At the bus stop. I'm holding court at the bus stop. You know, so I made a point to teach this wherever I am. Bus, train, and work, wherever I am. All right? A lot of conscious Moors, nationalized and conscious Moors that I talk to, they only deal with conscious and nationalized Moors. All right? Whereas I deal with unconscious and nationalized Moors. All right? That's because of, I work, so that's what my experience is at. All right? So I'm just letting you know that I made the point. So this is a system of analysis. Now let's get you further. All right, information. Expand this. All right. If I tell you to look up the word, this is one of my favorite words here, consider. All right? We've been taught to go to the entry-level meanings. And you will see to observe, all right? Ponder, think. No reference to star. This is what the Greeks did. The Greeks did that. When you get I said earlier, one of my students, Passa, she has a a Cassell Latin-English dictionary. I will show you, I told her that this book is weak. I'm not impressed with this. Latin-English dictionary. I told her to look up a few words, consider, desire, and disaster in that Latin English dictionary. And what they did was they give a connotative translation. Because all these words are astronomical. All these words deal with astronomy. What do these words have in common? They all deal with astronomy. Star, that's French. All right? It's French for here. Here's the word. All right? The D's drop. All right? The linguistic methodology of removing a medial sound or letter is called syncope. Syncope is the linguistic methodology. See, the D is removed. All right? Same origin. All right? There it is. So all reference to stars. Well, the Cassell Latin dictionary doesn't give you that information. All you're going to get is connotations. You're not going to get exact translations. So once you have a grasp in etymology, you know that those translations are distorted. They're not exact. As an exact translation of this would be consult the stars. With stars. With star. That's the exact translation. Not ponder, think, observe. All right? And you apply these skills to whatever you read. All right? So what we have to learn to do is read etymologically. We read connotatively. We don't read etymologically. We read connotatively. So so we're saying spirit, God, Allah, Elohim. And I say, well, give me the reference points. Well, the Almighty, the Everlasting. That's not a reference point. Chair, God, oh, the Almighty, the Everlasting. All you're doing is substituting another abstract word with another abstract word with another abstract word with another abstract word. You're not giving me a reference point, the marker, the pointer.
Exactly.
And so this is, when I read, I always ask, what's the marker? What's the pointer? What does this word truly denote? So I ask that question. And you'll see how vital this is into your studies of law. I'm going to continue to reference that, all right? So don't want you to leave here that Brother Bey Abdullah came up and talked about something totally different than what Taj talked about. I'm linking it. I'm linking it. I'm linking a system of study, a system of analysis. All right? So this gives you background of where I'm going. All right, so let's get busy. What skills are Taj using? What skills is Taj using? When he reads, all right? He didn't just come up here and just wrote those things without this knowledge of language, of the 7 liberal arts, grammar. So we have what's called, let's deal with the 7 liberal arts. This chalk is very thin. I have a heavy hand. You're heavy-handed. I haven't been told that to knock somebody out. All right. Trivium. Logic. Rhetoric. Grammar. So that deals with, this deals with here, reading, writing, reading, listening. Listening. Speaking. Quadruvium. Quad means 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Arithmetic. Five, geometry. 6, 7, music. 7, astronomy. That's your 7 liberal arts. All right? This here, quadrivium, calculation. All right? And those are the 7 liberal arts. This is what our students need. This is a system of analysis. Knowing how to study. We'll say, well, let's go do research. Well, you're assuming that they know how to do research. You're assuming that it's just that simple. Do they have the skills of researching? Do they have the, reading? Well, do they know how to read? Study this. Do they know how to study? All right?
Excuse me, 2 is what?
Question?
2 is what?
Rhetoric.
Rhetoric.
Help me out. Auditory, yeah. Is that it?
What's the word? Quad.
Which word? Which word?
Quad.
Yeah, quadruvium, four. Four. 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's a B.
Yeah, V. All right? 4. This is 3. All right? So now I'm going to get into what I started at the beginning of class, because it actually was informal. Brother asked me a question, and I went to the board to answer his question, and then end up, another question, and 15 minutes, and then Taj came because I had to set up and do all this other stuff, so I said I would come back on. All right. All right. Does everyone have this? All right. Sister Ada, a former student of mine, and who also assists us on the classes at Pearl Africa on Wednesdays. All right, she's been with me since 2005. All right. Well, when I did the class on language and politics, and I was explaining the relationship among what people call the different religions. I didn't say what I call. What people call, the world calls, because of the Romans. The Romans did that. Different religions, no such thing. Religions, S. This. That doesn't exist. This exists. Without the S, but that doesn't exist. This exists. But not this. Romans did this. Divide and conquer. So that we don't see the common, the connection. All right? We immediately go, different cultures. We accept this. We accept this. It's only one culture. All right? So, and I was explaining to her, as I was explaining to the class, the etymology of the word Allah, Elohim, and I had God, Elohim, and Allah, and had Muslim, so I had Muslim, Christianity, Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. That's what I had on the board. Right. And I showed them the commonality through etymology. And Sister Da raised her hand and said, well, what's your goal? Excellent question. Excellent question. What's my goal? What do I want to achieve? One mind. World unity. World unity. One thought. When Taj was POW, Taj, using etymology, there are brothers who call themselves Muslims, they're Muslim because of the adamant body, all right? And those brothers who call themselves Christian, they're Christian because they're melanated, all right? He explained to them, through etymology, the word God, and brought harmony, all right? That God deals with mentalism, mental development, thought, all right? So he used etymology to bring about harmony among those brothers who were fighting each other, who were not seeing each other as brothers because one thinks he's a Christian, though he's a Christian because of melanin, all right? Because he thinks it's, some belief, and one thinks he's a Muslim, and he's a Muslim because of that, because they think it's a belief. So there's a division there. You can bring harmony right there with etymology. All right? So when Taj relayed that story with me, of course I was pleased, ecstatic. All right? And I need these stories are key because you need to see, you need to know how etymology can be used to bring about harmony. Because the Romans created the disharmony through connotative meanings by suppressing the truth, the origin of it being one culture. So now we're thinking that there's different cultures, and because we don't know the commonality of the symbolisms. We don't know the origin of the symbols. So let's talk that. I'm going to further break that down too. Let's go, I'm going to give you this again. Christianity. And Davis. Allah, God, Yahweh, Yahweh. All right? Let's look at this. I want to show you through etymology that this is one. That this one system of mental development, mentalism, Raja Yoga or mental development, Raja Yoga or mental development, Raja Yoga or mental development, all connected. They're not separate. They're not Islam over here, Christianity over here, and Judaism over there. The Romans did that. The Romans did that. We didn't do that. Though our people did not do that, they were what? They were forced into submission. So though that is done, that didn't come from us. That division of divide and conquer. So here we go.
We allowed them to practice Christianity because they took on their own Christianity, and the Moors allowed them to practice that, leaving them alone. What started the whole thing is when they started talking about Islam, bad about Islam.
All right,
That's what
I hear now, good. You didn't say that they didn't establish Christianity. You didn't say that. You said we allowed them, we taught them Christianity. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. They did not establish Christianity. So be clear on that. They did not establish Christianity. They dirtied the word.
Right. That's when we started.
They distorted it. They dirtied it.
Yeah.
So they applied evil deeds, killing, raping, the suppression of the women, and they called it Christianity. That's not Christianity. There's no way in the world that I'm going to take this high culture word, this sublime, this sublime word that deals with high science, mental development, and then apply that to suppressing the women. And I ain't doing that. I'm not doing that. The Romans did that. That's their conquer. And understand, they control their minds because they've taken this, they've taken the word out of its original meaning and they twisted it and they got us agreeing to that Christianity is the suppression of women. It's not Christianity. The Romans suppressed Christianity. The Romans distorted Christianity and claimed the word as their own to separate us from the word. They take ownership of it, and we say, well, they're the establishment of Christianity, and then they separate us from it. So therefore, we don't go deep into it. We don't go deep into the etymology and the science of it. We don't have nothing to deal with that. Well, I deal with Islam. Yeah, I don't deal with those Christian sisters. Yeah, they're not my brothers and sisters. See, they're Christians. Nah, man. See, I deal with a sister, man. A Muslim sister. That's what I was. A Muslim sister. See, don't you? When Taj and I attended this mosque in Kansas, I didn't know this was going on because, I was astonished that brothers said that they would not even come to an aid of a sister who did not call herself a Muslim. I was astonished. They said they wouldn't even come to the aid of a sister who called herself a Christian. I said, Taj, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. Same bloodline. I couldn't believe it. This has messed us. The distortion of this has messed us up. This has messed us up. You got parents who throw their children out of the house who claim this and no longer claim this when this is one and the same. As a sister Adar asked me, where's your goal? Where'd you go, Abdullah? One thought, one mind, universal consciousness, one mind, one thought. It's always been that way. The Romans divided and conquered us by applying connotative meaning. So they used linguistics and they backed up the connotative meanings with politics. So the dictionary, they control that. They back it up with politics and military might. All right? Now what we're going to do, we're going to use this. Love. We're going to use love. All right? We're going to defeat them with love. And I'm not talking about some passive, kissing butt. I'm not talking that. All right? I'm talking high mind, activating the higher senses of the brain. All right? And this will do is it'll expand your sphere of thinking. It'll expand your scope of thinking. What connotative meanings do is narrow your scope of thinking. It suppresses your divine mind. All you need to do is have a little bit of knowledge, and you start going into your genetic memory. It's already in you. You start tapping into that cellular memory and start activating the higher sense of the brain, the pituitary gland, the sun. We are sun people. Yes, we're Christians, but we're sun people. The melanin. The sunlight that shines on us is converted into vitamin D. From the melanin converts that to vitamin D. Also, the sun activates the pineal gland. Right. We're sun people. That's why we're Christians. This book here is good, but it's limited. This book is limited.